Hello, welcome to Solo Strategic Playthroughs. My name is Jeff, and once again continuing my Gloomhaven 2nd Edition campaign, episode 25, and I just uploaded the other one, pretty eager to get right back into it as I'm going to be playing a new class this time, a class I unlocked in 1st Edition but have never played before. That is the Triangles, or the Triforce, and we will reveal what that is very shortly. But first, let's get into the city phase and take a look at the city event and the upgrades for the other two characters. All right, so I made a comment during the last video about checking in on the Mind Thief. Well, it turned out that is exactly what we did. That was the event I ended up drawing. We were checking out Dot's forwarding address. Went to visit Dot, and only to find another vermling there who said that she had passed away. But she did leave us an item. I have to say, it might have been hoping for something a little bit more than a flea-bitten shawl. I didn't really trust this guy. I had an opportunity to kind of just take him at his word, take the shawl and leave, say some nice words about the Mind Thief, or doubt his story. Spoiler alert, we doubted his story, and there was some tests involved, and end result of that is he's like, well, she left some money too, so we got 15 collective gold as well. I still think there's a little bit more to this story, but perhaps we'll find out in the future. Since Rita already had all the money she needed to get her enhancements, haven't created my new character yet, and the Plague Herald's going to be retiring pretty soon, perhaps after this episode, I decided to just give both the shawl and the 15 gold to Katie, soon to become the veteran member of the Gloomaniacs. But for now, we still have the brain there. And before I get into the individual characters, again, let's take a look at the updated campaign sheet. I've now got 9 inspiration, so a few more of those before I get the double bonus for retirement. I did gain 2 marks on the prosperity track for the retirement, so that put me to prosperity level 5, which means that unlocked several new items, some of which I did purchase, so we'll take a look at those, as well as new imbuement rules. So now I have the option to use the 5 tougher imbuements in addition to the other ones. If I put in all 10 cards, then, and taking out 6 cards, including these are the 3 that I have to take out now, then I can actually gain 2 marks on that box. So I'll probably give that a go. Sure, things will be harder, but if we're any kind of damage dealing like we were last time, then it won't really matter too much. I'll just wipe out the enemies. We'll see, but let me show you the cards that are going to go into the deck. Monsters are going to get 2 copies of a card that gives them +1 and also heals themselves. And also a curse, a wound, and a +3. So some pretty rough stuff, but again, we're game for it. And last but not least, I also had Rita before she retired, donate to the Great Oak, and I've already marked off the donations as well from Katie and the Brain. So now let's take a look at them. First up, we've got the Brain, the Harrower Plague Herald, who, like I said, is 9 of 10 towards his personal goal, so this could be his last hurrah. I was saving up for an enhancement, but instead I donated 10 to the Great Oak, and then I went ahead and had him buy an item. And that item is a major element potion, one of the new ones available to me now that I'm at prosperity level 5. Why would I take that? Well, if you know the class I've unlocked, you already know why. And if you don't, well, you'll find out soon enough. Next up, we've got Katie, the Volrath Sunkeeper. And no, I did not leave that up by accident. She is also buying a major element potion. You will see a theme going here. I'm going to be pretty aggressive in going after my new character's masteries and just maximizing them to their full potential in this, their first encounter. But again, before we get to that, let me finish off with Katie, who did level up to level 3. So let me go through her perks and her new card. So for her first perk, I decided to finish what I started and take Shielding Light. I'd already spent 1, so just had to spend another 1 to unlock it. And now whenever she overheals one of her allies, they will get Ward, which in addition to being very protective and very helpful, is also going to help with the card she's got that gives her allies an extra +1 to hit if they're warded. And to increase my chances of being able to deliver that ward and doing the overheals, I took a couple of copies of this card, a +1, and also heal. Can also heal herself if need be, but especially being able to heal an ally if they're at max health, so much the better, will be very nice. For Katie's level up card, I had a choice between Engulfing Radiance and Burning Flash among the level 3s, and I was definitely going to go with a level 3. Both fit the Katie Kaboom theme very well, but I think I'm going to go with Engulfing Radiance for a couple of reasons. One, now that I've given her that heal ability, this is certainly very useful in tandem with that. Once the Plague Herald retires, I'll actually want all of my allies to be at full health or above. Also, the element generation on the bottom, just something I can count on. A very useful ability. Doesn't give me any movement, and that's the one reason I strongly considered the other card, which is, it's got a great endgame, blow it up, do lots of damage, but until then, a move 5, which could be very useful. But the other factor also, I do like the low initiative. Having her have some more of that. So that is my choice. And now it is time to introduce the newest member of the Gloomaniacs. This is going to be the Triangle class, so end of your spoiler warning, I'm going to show it now. The new character is the Savas Elementalist, and I couldn't really find any perfect match among the Animaniacs characters to give them a name. And, there was the low-hanging fruit out there of, if they're all cartoon characters, I could have gone with Rocky. But you know what? I think since the brain isn't going to be around much longer, let's give him a faithful companion. This Savas may not be the brightest bulb, but certainly good at blowing things up, or hopefully we'll find out. But this is going to be Pinky. Now for Pinky's starting items, he starts with 65 gold at Prosperity level 5. Hey look, it's another major element potion. So yeah, I am giving all 3 characters major element potions because the Elementalist is at its most powerful when it can consume a lot of elements. So this is really going to kickstart me being able to just produce them left and right. And as, again, you can see looking at the masteries now, one of the masteries, I will not be able to complete both masteries in the first game because I have to do one of them 3 times. That is have every element at weak or strong. Going to be very easy to do when I have 3 characters each able to produce a double element, and Katie's actually got another element potion on top of that. Yet another element potion might have been overkill. Instead, a stamina potion so that I can get back some of the cards that are going to help me fulfill the other mastery, and it is that other mastery, using 4 or more elements 5 times in a game, is the sole reason I'm taking this other card. And that is the Circlet of Elements. So I can turn one element into another. That counts as consuming an element. So as kind of going through the options, there are 2 cards that the Elementalist has that lets them burn 4 elements. Those are the easy ones in terms of achieving that battle goal. The only way to do it without using one of those cards is there's another card that lets you spend 2 elements on the top. You could play a different card to spend an element on the bottom, but where are you going to consume that 4th one from? Well, it's going to be right here. So do I need to do that? No, but I want to complete that mastery as quick as possible. After this scenario, I can sell this off, use the gold I get back towards there are definitely better head slot items. Just unlocked the Hawk Helm, which lets me increase range, or I may decide that I want the Eagle Eye lenses, which gives me advantage. We'll see. Nice thing is, I'll have an opportunity to play the class, get a little bit of a feel for it before I make that decision. Now for perks, Pinky is going to get 2 legacy perks plus 2 more because I'll be prosperity leveling up to level 3. And so this one seemed like a no-brainer to me. Definitely going to help me with my various goals. Right off the bat, I can start with an element. Now, for the other 3 perks, not going to lie, I was a little tempted to go for the triple cost perk that lets you keep all of the non-light and dark elements as strong. That said, I do think it is better off to... I don't think I'll need to do that. I think because I'm controlling all the characters, can kind of think everything's out, plan accordingly, I can plan pretty carefully what I want to do. So I definitely think that would be a useful ability if you're playing with a group of other players and you can't really control when elements are going to be created. Yeah, we'll see down the road if I feel like it's something I need. But instead, I am going to start getting some -1s out of the deck. And so I will be putting 3 cards in, and that is... when that card comes up in the attack modifier deck, you can choose which of the 2 elements you want to put into play. You don't get them both. Wavered a bit between which 3 of the 4 I wanted. My next perk is definitely going to be to get the other one, so it doesn't really matter. I favored Frost only because just looking at the abilities I have, I feel like I'm probably more likely to use the Frost abilities, particularly in her level up cards, which, let's take a look at those. So my choices for level 2 were either Gravel Guard or Wave of Frost, and I decided without too much thought to go ahead and go with Gravel Guard. I think, especially combined with Katie, being able to give her movement, shield, the muddling, all of that stuff, great to have for your tank. I also really like the bottom ability. This is a theme with a lot of these Elementalist cards where you spend an element and then you get it right back. So like the idea of being able to do that, and then also got a little bit of movement to go with it as well. So that's the level 2 card. So for the level 3 card, my choices were between Empowering Flame and Arresting Gale. This was a pretty easy choice, going with the Empowering Flame. The things about the Arresting Gale, stun is always nice, but the wind abilities appeal to me less than the flame abilities. So, and the bottom part, Ward, is useful in concert with the card Katie has, but that's just 1 card. It only affects 3 attacks. Nothing to build a strategy around. Whereas the other side just is always going to be useful, it seems to me. The top ability will generate fire for the other new card I just picked up, and for Pinky being able to give themselves strengthen, also going to be really useful. Want to be able to move through that deck, and so I can create more elements. On the bottom side, this is great with Katie. Being able to give my tank retaliate should come in really handy, so very much like this card, and a 15 initiative. I always love fast initiative. So, especially important, I think, with the Elementalist, because if you're spending the previous turn building up a lot of elements, you want to make sure that they're available to use next turn before the enemies go. And I was going to hold on to my money, but that Flea-Bitten Shawl actually seems like it could be pretty useful, at least for now, with the Elementalist. So, it's just 10 gold. If I sell it back, I've only lost 5 gold for that. So, going to go ahead and grab that card so that I don't have to worry about tiebreakers. Lastly, we do have to choose a personal goal, and I ended up going with Take Back the Trees. So just have to complete 10 road events. I don't have, actually, looking as things stand right now, I actually don't have any scenarios in Gloomhaven. So I don't think I'm going to have to, that would be the only thing that would prevent me from participating in a road event. I guess also force link scenarios. And again, I can, so, it may take 11 or 12 scenarios. I think this is one of the ones that actually has a follow-up too. That's fine, actually. I'm looking forward to playing the Elementalist for quite a while, really delving in to their various abilities. I imagine some of the higher level stuff is going to be ridiculous. I don't know. I prefer not to look at any of the upper level cards until I've unlocked them. I might, as I'm getting closer, just look at the next level, but generally, I like this surprise. Also, this is going to unlock a class that I have played before, but only for 6 scenarios in first edition. So, I don't know. I know it well enough, but I haven't really gotten the full experience of it, and certainly will look forward to seeing what's changed in second edition. So now the crew is all together. Where are they going to go? Well, Oops, all side scenarios. Continuing towards Katie. At this rate, she'll retire potentially after 6 scenarios. Don't worry. I am definitely planning on getting back to scenarios lower than 50. I really want to do... I want to do the next one in the City Guard, and I also want to do the next main quest in the main storyline. But before we get to that, I have lingered for too long on the puzzle book. I am very curious to see where this leads to. I'm also going to be able to get a new item, so this seems like potentially could be useful for either, now I have 2 characters who could potentially use it. I suppose I could wait until next session when I've got 3 relatively new characters, but no, I'm eager to get out there and see what's going on. So we are heading to Rockslide Ridge, but on the way, of course, there is going to be a road event. And for that road event, we encountered a body at the bottom of a pool, just seemed to be meditating, maybe. It was Savas, presumably, so we could just kind of, our curiosity satisfied, move on, or we could try and take the body out, get a closer look. Chose to do that. Skill test involved, which I had the prerequisites to pass, and then was able to discover that I gained some knowledge, and I gained some information about yet another side quest I can go on, unlocked number 98. So I haven't even taken a look at that yet, but we'll just add that to the list of future possibilities. Yet another side scenario that Katie can do towards her personal goal. All right, having had that interesting diversion, it is time to head all the way over to Rockslide Ridge and prepare for the scenario. So again, with the puzzle book, we've reached a point where we need to retrieve a certain item. To move forward on that, we've been given information, a location to head out. Here we are at Rockslide Ridge, having to scale our way up the mountain. It is going to be pretty difficult, as there is a lot of difficult terrain. Well, won't be difficult for the brain, who now has the power of flight, but might be difficult for the others. So I am going to have to deal with a variety of enemies. No negative scenario effects, though some interesting mechanics, which I'll show you here. So as we're making our way up the mountains, true to its name, rocks will be sliding down towards us. These 3 boulders will be moving 3 spaces every round, and whatever they hit is going to take trap damage. I am going to be doing scenario level 3 now, because we have 6 plus 3 plus 3 are my characters. It's an average of 12, so an average level of 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then again, because in this case, it would be the same first or second edition, but I am playing first edition rules, just add +1. So scenario difficulty level 3, 5 trap damage. So that affects the enemies as well as my characters. So I'll try and make sure my characters stay out of the way of that, and maybe I can do something to force the enemies to take the damage. And then taking a look at the map and the scenario goals. So in order to complete the scenario, there are 3 chests that I need to loot, and they are presumably all going to be inside this cavern, which I have to make my way to because I don't see any of them anywhere else. Enemy-wise, we got a whole bunch of hounds, a couple of Inox archers, 5 artillery, and there are also, presumably in here, more Inoxes, Inox priests and Inox guards, so no shortage of enemies to face, but we'll go ahead and deal the battle goals and figure out what cards everybody's going to bring. So now looking at the individual characters, if at first you don't succeed, try again. So I will once again be putting out plebeian. I don't know. Mainly just if I have the opportunity to get rid of this, which I kind of hate this battle goal, and I have failed it 3 times. But we'll see. We've got it out. Perhaps the Plague Herald can do what the others have not been able to do. Not that important. For cards he's bringing, first I just went through and I love all of his high-level cards, so I'm bringing all of them. I do want to get back to using Nightmarish Affliction for multiple attacks, so levels 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, all going in. For his other 5 cards, just a lot of the usual suspects. Often at this point, I usually have a hard time using Festering Sores for the top ability, just because I have so many other better options. But I do like the initiative. I like the bottom, potentially being able to slow enemies down. Of course, Blistering Buboes, a staple, and I'm probably going to use it round 1 this game. Biting Nets, my other round 1 card, also a staple. Vile Pestilence was kind of the one flex card I had here. I threw this in mainly for the low initiative. Potentially the other attack, but the forward movement is nice too. Give me some mobility. I do need to be able to pick up some loot. I think ideally I'd want to get at least 3 loot so that I have enough gold both to get the enhancement I want as well as 1 more donation to the Great Oak. But then of course last card, Path of the Pox, never going to leave that one out. So that is the Brains selection. Now for Katie, she is going to be the Scrambler, which means no long rests, which means I'm not going to be able to use her ability to generate sun. That's okay. What I am going to do is obviously looking forward to using Engulfing Radiance, probably on the first turn, and also Purifying Aura, another card I'm looking at doing on the first turn for the top ability. Set up some really nice Retaliate. Then other cards, Empowering Command. Do want to be able to strengthen, particularly the Elementalist could come in handy. Of course, I want my healing from Dazzling Charge and Soothing Light, and Sanctify. Again, now that we have ability to get Ward Out a little bit easier, should be able to put that to good use. For her other 5 cards, I put in all of her main attack cards, and then for the final flex option, could have gone a few different directions. I decided to go with Brilliant Prayer. Again, I like being able to bless people, and also in this case, being able to get back a lost card. That could certainly come in handy for the Elementalist. And last up, we've got Pinky, the Savas Elementalist, who is going to be a Shirker. Did not get any 2 checkmark options for him. That one should be pretty straightforward enough. It certainly has some very powerful attacks, so getting adjacent to an enemy, killing a different one, I should have plenty of opportunities to do that. Going through the cards I'm bringing for him, so the 6 cards I'm showing you here are the cards I'm going to be playing in round 1, 2, and 3. Like I said, I'm going to go pretty aggressive towards the battle goal. Yeah, I have time, but that one where I have to do it 5 times, I'm probably going to do it 3 times in the first cycle, maybe even 4 if I feel really crazy, use a stamina potion. We'll see how things go. But I'm going to be able to lead off with Malleable Evocation, just do a nice, really effective heal and buff to a couple different people. Then on the next round, I'll set myself up to do Formless Power, to consume a couple of elements, and then Gravel Guard on the bottom to consume another one. And then, like I said, I've got the Circlet of Elements to be the 4th one. Then on round 3, I'll be able to set up for Shaping the Ether as well as Empowering Flame. So should be able to dole out quite a bit of punishment. For the other 4 cards, there's a theme here. I talked about I'm going to want to be really aggressive with this class. I'm not going to be afraid to lose cards. And so in this case, I'm taking 4 cards that all have something in common. These are cards that, when lost, produce 2 elements. So also lots of good various abilities around here, which we'll get to discover and explore. But yeah, I'm not going to be afraid to lose cards, deal lots of damage, especially knowing I've got Katie to let me get 1 back, not to mention she's also got the ability to let me get cards from my discard pile, and also the stamina potion, so I feel like I'll be in a pretty good position. Last but not least, I'll just quickly run through the cards I'm not bringing. So you can see the other 5 cards I'm leaving behind, including all 3 X cards. Some potentially fun stuff here, encompassing shadow, although I don't know, by making other people invisible, does that make me target? I might want to be cautious about that. I think Flash or Brilliance is probably a card I'm going to look to use more in the future when I'm not so consumed on mastery goals. It generates light, so I can pair that with Katie if she wasn't able to generate it on her own. And then, of course, just having loot on the bottom. The one thing I did consider putting this in this game around, the self-heal is a nice counter to being awarded the gift of poison, but again, I think I'll be okay without it. That is not my first concern. So having chosen all the cards, all that remains now is to, and I've already figured out what I'm going to be playing for the first round, so let me show you those cards. Not my typical starting setup here. Definitely trying something different. I think normally I'd be inclined to just start wiping these enemies out. Instead, at least for the hounds, I am going to welcome them coming after me. I've got the Plague Herald going first. I am going to be able to hit 4 of them with the Plague by using my item and also using Biting Gnats. So potentially I could hit all 4 hounds. Give all of them -1 to their attacks. So that's kind of where I'm thinking with the Plague Herald. For Katie, she's going to be able to give everybody disadvantage. And then, as I said, throw up that Retaliate. With the positioning, hopefully I might have to move people around a bit to where they start. So that is not fixed. I do want to make sure that Katie is the target of as many attacks as possible so that she can deal that retaliate damage. And then a little bit later in the round, on 26, we have the Elementalist, and Pinky is going to be able to do a huge buff on 2 targets with Malleable Evocation, and then get Pulsing Cores into play to just start setting up regular element generation, which is going to help towards that. I will have all 6 elements in play on round 1. Part of that, and I'll get into it when I get to round 2, there are different ways I can use night and day versus the nature elements. So, and I have multiple options for generating all those elements. I'll just most likely be firing off a whole bunch of potions. But before we do that, we do need to see when the enemies are going. So first things first, Xhaven does let me know that I need to move the boulders. I've gone ahead and done that. I'll show you that when I go back to the main board. I'm going 14, 15, 26, and the enemies are all going after me, so that is good news. I don't think, well, range 7. I hadn't even thought about how far this ancient artillery can attack, so that'll be interesting. The Inox archers doing some wounding on 56, and then the hounds are moving. So will they all be able to get to me? Yeah, probably. So that's fine. That 5 attack from the elite hound, not great, but I'll be able to deal with it. So as we get into round 1, I started off by moving the 3 boulders here, 1, 2, 3. So they're here now. They're rolling down the hill, heading towards us. They will go over things like traps and rubble, but should they run into an obstacle, they'll destroy that obstacle. I guess only really a factor if you're playing somebody like the Cragheart who creates obstacles. If they run into any monsters or characters, they will push them out of the way, but also deal trap damage. Pretty interesting. And once they get to the end, they'll start back at the beginning and just keep cycling through. Very much a video game feel here, as I realize in order to get through this, which is covered by the boulders, I've got these traps here. So I'm going to need, obviously in the case of the brain who's got flying, not a problem. He can just fly over the traps. For the other 2 characters, they're going to need to kind of slip their way in between the boulders, try not to get hit. We will deal with that later. For right now, we need to deal with all of these enemies surrounding us. So the Plague Herald's going to kick things off with Biting Gnats, but even before I do that, or after, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to go ahead and use Pendant of the Plague. And I am going to poison Katie, since that poison is going to be removed. That's going to allow me to get 2 targets where I can Put 2 curses in the deck, not to mention also a pair of plague tokens. And then the question is, do I want to use the Scepter of Zorn? It's not optimal, but would get a couple more curses, some extra damage. That I'm going to have to consider. So yeah, even though it may not be optimal, I can only get 2 targets instead of 3 because it's a range 3. I am going to use the Scepter of Zorn. That is going to mean I have to poison myself, no problem. And then I will be able to go ahead and at least poison these 2. So now I've shuffled a total of 4 curses. You can see I've already put out the plague tokens, 2 from Biting Gnats, 2 from Pendant of the Plague. I just have to decide who I want to attack with the Biting Gnats. I guess probably makes the most sense to go after the 2 poisoned enemies, so that's what I'll do. And then I'll just use the Pendant to get the other 2. Yeah, he's within range 5, so I can do that. Okay, so the Biting Gnats attack, I'll do the first one against the Elite Hound that's nearby up in the top corner. So it is poisoned, so this will be a 2 attack, and gonna be able to heal somebody. It doesn't really matter, get rid of poison. And rolling modifier, I am also going to be able to put out another plague counter. I'll remove the poison from Katie, and then I'll go ahead and put a second plague counter on the Inox Archer, and now I'm going to attack the Archer, which is going to be also 2 attack as it is poisoned. Well, turnabout is fair play. Once again, I have drawn the card that lets me put a plague counter, so I will then put a second plague counter onto the Hound. I'll do it for the Plague Herald's turn, and of course I will keep Blistering Buboes in play as a reminder that both those top enemies are going to get -2 to their attack. It's going to be a -1 for the other 2. One other thing at the start of the scenario I forgot to do, because of the Elementalist's perk, they do get to put an element into play, so we'll put fire into play, and then I will activate the major element potion at the end of the Brain's turn so that he can put 2 more elements out. All right, now Katie's up, and one other thing to note is that with Biting Gnats, that would muddle all of the plagued enemies. Doesn't really matter, because Katie's going to play Engulfing Radiance, which means all attacks this round against her and her allies will be at disadvantage. That will also generate light. And then for Katie's other card, she will put the top of Purifying Aura into play. That is going to give her Retaliate 3 against the next 3 attacks performed by an adjacent enemy, or next 5 attacks, 3 of which are coming up on the Hound's turn. I will finish up Katie's turn by using her major element potion, which is going to infuse Dark and Wind, which means that, hey, look, all 6 elements are in play. They're even strong. They just have to be waning or strong. So one of 3 scenarios are the mastery goal for the Elementalist to have all 6 elements strong or waning. And yeah, I'm pretty much going to be doing that same thing the next 2 scenarios. Is it the most optimal? I don't know, but let's just knock it out, get it done early. Now I've got lots of elements to play with. Really nice, too, with this mix of enemies that are not going to be using those elements. Next up is Pinky, who is just following the Brain's lead, putting all these elements into play, feels compelled to use them, or at least 4 of them. So we will play Malleable Evocation, and I will use all 4 elements, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and even Frost, which is going to give a whole bunch of effects. Because I'm using 2 or more, I get to add an extra target, so I'm going to target both the Brain and the Sunkeeper. As a result of that, they are now safeguarded, warded, blessed, and strengthened, and then for the other part, I will go ahead and put Pulsing Cores into play. And at the end of the turn, I'm going to be able to generate Fire or Frost. So I will generate Fire. Well, that was fun. Unfortunately, now the enemies get to go, starting with the Ancient Artillery attacking at range 7, which at least this round is not going to be that bad. These 2 guys can't reach anybody. This guy is just short, cannot reach anybody. This one does not have line of sight. The only one, actually, I don't think he has line of sight to any of them, so not able to attack. This one does have line of sight, is able to attack Katie, so that will be a 2 attack at disadvantage. So that is going to be either a +1 or a +1 and heal itself, so it'll choose that. It's going to be 3 damage to Katie. That will trigger her chainmail for 2 damage. Then I might as well use the tower shield to knock it down to 0. That way I don't have to burn the ward just yet. Next up are the Inox archers, who are doing twin bolts, attacking at range 4. Now, I'm pretty sure when finding additional foci, they still do have to go through the focus process. I'm not positive about this, but I feel like this is the purpose of the flea-bitten shawl. So the targets are going to be, obviously, Katie, who's the closest and therefore the main focus, but then the next target would be the Plague Herald. So this one has a plague counter, so it's just going to be a 1 attack with wound. First against Katie is going to be either a +2 muddle or a miss. So we will take the miss. The wound, of course, will remove the safeguard. Now the attack against the Plague Herald is either going to be a +1 or a 0. So that'll be 2 damage. The ward will reduce it to 1. And again, not that it's going to help too much with the other one attacking, but that will prevent the wound. Now the other one will attack. Again, starting with Katie, this one going to be at -2 as it's got 2 plague counters. Definitely thought about maybe put 3 on it, but I think better to spread them out. So it will go ahead and either be, well, there you go, a 0 or a 0. So no damage to Katie, though she is going to be wounded. And now the attack against the Plague Herald is either going to be a 0 and poison or a miss. Next up, the Hounds are doing Calculated Strike. We will start with this guy, who's going to go 1, 2, 3. Since I can choose where to move him, I'll move him down there. And that attack, it's going to be a 5 attack, though with the plague counter, at least it is reduced to a 4. And again, at disadvantage, either a ×2 or a +1. So we'll take the +1. That's 5 damage. In this case, the ward will apply, reducing it to... Actually, the shield applies first, unfortunately, from the chainmail, knocking it down to a 4, so it doesn't really help. Then I apply the ward, which knocks it down to 2. Now comes the attack from the other Hound, which is going to come down. And it is going to go after the Plague Herald, who unfortunately does not have his ward anymore. But it will be at disadvantage. So here we come. This is a 3 attack, and it's going to be a miss or a +1. So yes, although again, that Plague Herald does not mind taking damage, but that's okay. We'll certainly not be too sad to not get pummeled just yet. That one done. Now the non-elites are going to go. And so I can just have them. They'll both move up here. Oh, of course, this guy is also going to take 3 retaliate damage, down to 5. I'll mark these guys now, too, as they will also be taking retaliate damage. So not bad. That card has already managed to do 9 damage for me, which is pretty good. I'll have to tick that down 1, 2, 3 times. That'll give her 2 XP. But let me go ahead and do these attacks. These are going to be 3 attacks at disadvantage. So the first one is going to be a +1 and a curse. Boy, these are rough. Or +1, so 4 damage. Last use of the chainmail knocks that down to 3 damage. Then the other one will go ahead and attack either a +1 or a miss. So glad I put those curses in there. We ended up going through 3 of them. Yeah, wow. With the imbuements, the deck is brutal. I'm just going to have to survive this. Hopefully, I can deal lots of damage next turn. Actually, one last thing that I did mean to do was use the element potion during Katie's turn to generate frost so that I have 4 elements in play. They'll all wane, but that will set me up to use all 4 during the elementalists next turn. And just one adjustment, going back actually to the Plague Herald's turn again, it didn't matter the attacks I was taking. Just pretty important that I go quickly next turn and also being able to defend against these enemies. So I am going to use my stamina potion and get blistering buboes back. All right, so for round 2, I mean, these are some rough enemies. I'm going to take damage. I think that's unavoidable. Maybe if I weren't going for the mastery, I might be able to unload a bit more damage, but I'm going for the mastery, so I'll be able to, with Pinky, be able to get off a pretty solid attack, an attack 4, and then also throw down a fire trap, but really the more important thing is that I'm able to move, because if I don't move Pinky out of the way, they are going to get crushed by these boulders. And Savas might like boulders. They don't necessarily like being underneath them. Katie is going to be able to fire off an attack again. Hopefully she can clear the way, kill an enemy in front of her so she can move out of the way of the boulder. So, ideally I'd like for her to be able to use this advantage to take 2 attacks, but got to get the movement going. And then the brain will be able to, again, going very quickly, at least be able to minimize the damage incoming and also deal quite a bit more damage with plague damage. So let's all get that going. I got to see when the enemies are up. I'm going almost as fast as I can this round. 10, 14, and 17 for the enemies. Going after that, hounds are pack hunting on 19. The archers closing in on 32. Ancient artillery, only range 5, so that's good. Should be able to avoid those. All right, let's do it. Pinky will kick things off by dropping a fire trap back here, adjacent to the 2 hounds, dealing 1 damage to each of them. Of course, I have to consume fire to do that, which I do have. I have fire, sun, dark, and frost. So consuming the fire then refreshes it back to full. That's 1 element down. 3 more to go this round. Then I do get move 2, so I'm going to scoot up here in between these guys. Not the best of spots, but about the only place I can go to get away from the boulders. So then I will go ahead and use Formless Power to do an attack, consuming both the light and the dark. That will give me a 4 attack at quite a bit of range. And then it's just a matter of deciding which enemy I want to go after. I think the Elite Hound here is the most dangerous, so I'll just flip things around. I'll do the attack before I move, so it's not at disadvantage. Again, consuming both the light and the dark is going to make this a 4 attack. And here we go. First attack for Pinky in the campaign is going to be a -1. That is not as good as I had hoped. But the hound is poisoned, so that'll do the job. That's going to be 4 damage, bringing it down to 2. I will then use the Circlet of Elements to convert the frost from waning into strong. So once again, I have consumed 4 elements in a turn, so 2 down, 3 to go. Now the brain is up, and I think if I'm willing to take a little bit of damage, the boulders can actually do a lot of work for me here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and target these 2 guys, the hound on the left, as well as the archer right here, and these will both just be a 1 attack. They're, however, with advantage from the strengthen, so we'll start attack against the hound is going to be either a +1 or a ×2. Well, that's a waste, just 2 damage. Then the attack against the archer is going to be either a miss or a 0, so just 1 damage and a plague counter. Wilton Wither will then do damage to all the enemies equal to their plague counters, so 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, so bringing them down a bit. Now, having killed this guy, before he dies, I am going to go ahead and use Zorn's Propagation to take control of him. So, Hound's got 5 movement and a 4 attack, and it'll actually be bumped up to a 6 attack, so I'm going to bring him down over here And I guess I can just keep him over here. And he will go ahead and attack the other hound for a 6 attack, and let's see what happens. It is going to be +1 for 7 damage, taking out the other hound. I will then use my 2 movement to scoot out of the way up over here, also now giving negatives to the others on their attacks. The last thing I'm going to do is I am going to use my amulet of life to heal 1, so I'll get a health back and get rid of that wound. Next up is Katie, and she's going to see if she can take out that other hound. Just need a 0. This attack will be at advantage. Either going to be a ×2, so yeah, that'll take care of it. Or, all right, generate sun, which I'll go ahead and do. Plus, I get to generate an element for the other, which is going to generate night. So I've actually got all 6 elements. And I just realized I actually forgot to tick down. Should have happened on the elementalist's turn. And loot is really the least of my worries right now. I need to stay away from those boulders. So, too bad. There's a lot of loot here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, which is going to work out nicely for several reasons. The sole remaining hound is up, and with pack hunting, it is going to hunt. It's actually going to target Katie because of the flea-bitten shawl. So 1, 2, we'll have it go right here. And it's going to go ahead, just a 2 attack, no allies adjacent to the Sunkeeper, and -1 from the Plague, Blistering Buboes, and disadvantage. So either a +1 or a 0, it'll be the 0, -1, just 1 damage. Next up are the archers, and in order to get within range 3, he's going to have to take a step forward. So now he can target Katie. What would normally be a 4 attack is just going to be a 2 attack from the 2 plague counters. Also disadvantage, so either a +1 or a +1 and a curse. We'll take the +1. That's 3 damage. And then finally, this guy up here is going to target Pinky. And again, doesn't want to have disadvantage, so we'll move away. And now we'll just do a straight up, what would be a 4 attack, but again, reduced just a 2 attack. So that is, it's going to be +3. That's going to be 5 damage to the Elementalist. And yeah, I think I'm just going to have to take it. Finally, the Ancient Artillery, but they're all limited to range 5. So don't have to worry about any damage from them. That is going to do it for the round. Okay, I am back, finished round 2, and I had a chance to edit over the video so far, so just correcting up a couple of things. First of all, like I said in the comment in the video, I had forgotten about generating an element at the end of the turn. No reason to use the potion when I can do that, and then I had the wild. This was all stuff I had actually planned out ahead of time. So, no night, these are the 5 elements I've got. Wasn't anticipating the sun, but that's potentially there for now for the Sunkeeper to use next turn. The other thing is during the Elementalist turn, and this I didn't get caught on video, but I actually had used a stamina potion to get my healing card back so I can play that next round. So with that, let's take a look at my plans for round 3. Oh, and also, of course, Pinky should be wounded from the attack they took, so I've taken care of that. Now, the first thing that'll happen in round 3, even before I choose my cards, is each of these 3 boulders will move 3 spaces, rolling over the enemies, doing 5 trap damage, so that is going to kill all 3 remaining enemies. Now, with that taken care of, I can plan my actions for next round. Things are definitely getting pretty tricky with all the damage I take, having to move forward, eventually taking artillery fire from all these guys. But we need to start moving our way up. Obviously, need to start getting some healing done. So I've got that queued up. I will be able to do a max buff heal. I'll also have Katie do a heal, and then looking to have much later in the round, I'll go on 70. Hopefully, after the artillery, I'll be able to send up the Plague Herald, who really is probably going to have to take some of the hits. but he will be looking to wound and start spreading some plague on one of these enemies. Oh, and the one other thing that I noted is that the brain should actually be at full health, so I bumped that up. All right, let's see what the artillery is doing. So I probably should be okay. They're doing the massive blast on 57. I'm just going to have to... It's only range 3, so effectively they can hit somebody range 5 away, so I'll just have to be cautious about that, but at least I will then be able to send up the brain, not having to worry about taking an immediate attack. Alright, so as I'm kind of looking over the board now, I am realizing I have made a mixed calculation. We go into Katie's turn. She's going to start things off. She's going to go down to 3 from the wound. I was hoping maybe I take 1 turn, do some healing up, and then I could head in and attack. I don't think that's reasonable. I think I'm actually going to have to take probably the rest of this rest cycle to just kind of slow play, to set myself up. It's not optimal. I've got some effects in play that aren't going to stick around, but I don't think I can afford to charge in there and take a lot of damage. I need to be really well positioned. I need to be really well coordinated, and until I get my health up, I'm not ready to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have Katie go ahead and heal herself. So it'll be a 3 heal. It'll get rid of the wound, and then my understanding is when you play the card, it goes to your discard pile, and then you activate all the effects. So I should be able to spend the light or the sun to get that card back. If that is not the case, well, let me know, and I'll try not to make that mistake again, but I think that's my understanding of it, so that's what I'm going to do. Then with the movement, my original thought would be, well, I'll just move up a little bit, but I am going to be in even though it's not line of sight, the little guy here in the corner is just going to be able to target, say, down over here and get an AoE effect. So if I'm trying to work myself back up, I don't think it's a good idea to take any damage. So for now, she's just going to... I guess I can move her up a little bit. She can go here, and that's a safe spot. And then I can go ahead and bless... in this case, I'll go ahead and bless the Elementalist. Now Pinky's up and down to 2 with the wound, so I'll go ahead and cast Malleable Evocation, consuming the remaining 4 elements to do the full featured boost and heal on themselves and also on Katie. And hey, now I've 3 turns in a row. I've managed to spend 4 elements, so well on my way to that mastery. Just have to see if we can win this scenario. And I think I can still stay out of their reach, at least going here, so I will grab that loot. And one other thing, at the end of Pinky's turn, I will advance Pulsing Cores. I'll choose to generate Wind, and then I also generate Earth from the card I played. The Ancient Artillery are up next. Fortunately, because I did not dare to move forward, they are not able to hit me. They effectively have a range of 5. Closest one is 6 away, so don't have to worry about that. Finally, I'll have the Brain jump up over here, be able to loot that coin. And then I'll use Festering Sores, taking advantage of the extra range. I'm actually going to target this guy. That way, when he dies, I'll be able to spread the plague to a couple of other enemies. As we go into round 4, one thing I realized with the boulders is they are going to spread out a little bit, as this one will go 1, 2, off the edge of the board is going to relocate it here, and then a 3rd movement here on top of that terrain. Similarly, this one will end up here. But this is going to go 1 and relocate here, and then 2, 3. So that's where their position is going to be. And yeah, now again, I just have to decide how daring I'm going to be. Goes against every fiber of the Gloomaniacs being, but I need to be patient. I'm not going to be able to maximize every play, and that's okay. I think I can slowly work at least some of these enemies down, so I'm not walking into a firing squad. Just have to make sure I avoid those boulders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the Brain go first. So I know that with a 26, he will be able to go before the artillery. I think 39 might be the fastest they can go. So it's something in the 30s. Either way, I'll be able to move away and then fire off an attack at any range on the one that I've already plagued. Ideally, I'd have more plagued, but I don't really have the cards to do that right now, and I could take a short rest, but there's only one card that I'd kind of be willing to lose, and that's actually my move 5, so I'm not even sure I want to lose that. So, that being the case, that's the Plague Herald's plan. Then I'll have Katie go next, so that she can actually drop a potential boon that she can give to Pinky, depending on... Again, a lot of this depends on when the enemies are going and what they're doing, whether or not I send the Elementalist up into a position to attack, only if the enemies have already gone. If they haven't gone yet, then I probably will not do that. So, again, you just sometimes, if you're slow playing this like this, you just need to be prepared to say, okay, I didn't do that much this round, and be okay with it. That said, let's find out when the Ancient Artillery are going. Well, I guess their fastest is a 37, but that's when they're going, so that's actually pretty good. That's a range 4, but effectively, again, they can hit 5 spaces away with that area effect attack. So, yeah, I think we should be okay this round. The Brain will go first, and I think this is probably going to put him in the line of fire of one of the enemies, but I think it's worth it to get that loot. So he's going to move 2 and go here. End of turn, he'll collect those, and actually that was... Now I've got the 3 loot that I knew I wanted the Brain to get to make sure I'm going to be able to buy everything I want to buy. So having taken care of that, I will now do what would be a 2 attack. It will be a 3 attack because of the plague counter on... well, he's off screen. Let's see if we can... Here, this guy right here, the wounded one. Alright, so just a straight up attack here, but it is a 3 attack, and it is going to be +1, so that's 4 damage. Now, the artillery are up, and I actually think I'm okay, because this guy in the corner, I was going to say he could target here, but I'm pretty sure that is not in line of sight. Drawing a line here, it is going to cut against an edge there. So, well, the Brain might be a little bit disappointed. He likes to take damage, but not this time, so no attacks for the artillery, but this guy will take a wound damage. I don't know exactly how you wound ancient artillery, but well, they're ancient. Next up is Katie. I'm realizing when I was showing you the cards before, I put down the wrong one. I just clicked the wrong one. It should be 65, not a 55. Just because I'm using it for generic movement, I do have to move up a little bit to make sure I'm within 2 of the Elementalist when they do their attack, since if I want Sanctify to take effect, which I definitely do. So, yeah, I'll actually move up both spaces. We cannot be living in fear forever, plus I am going to be able to move these cannons around a bit. Then I'll go ahead and put Sanctify into play. That'll also generate light, and that'll do it for Katie's turn. Now Pinky's up, and, well, this is an interesting situation, and let us remember, they are not very smart. Ultimately, they're going to do whatever the Brain tells them. So when the Brain says, go and attack 2 of those cannons, I feel like they have little choice but to listen. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, which is going to put the Elementalist right in the line of fire of the boulder. The good news is I do have Ward up, so I won't take as much damage. But I think this is a really good opportunity to take advantage of this. So since if I'm positioned here, I can attack both of these enemies, range 3 away, as I will fire off Shaping the Ether. And maybe I should have used my Element Potion to generate a couple more elements. My thinking, I mean, the wound would have been good. Obviously, Immobilize, not really helpful. So I kind of wanted to save it for later. I only need to do the 4 elements 2 more times, so I think I'll be okay with that. Alright, that said, I am now going to go ahead and consume both the wind and the earth, and this will be a 2 attack, but they will each be a 4 attack thanks to Sanctify, also with poison and push 3. Both attacks will be at advantage. The first one will go against the top one here, so that's a 4 attack, either a 0 or a -1. I really need to improve that deck, but 4 damage. I can also push it 3, or in this case just 1, nowhere else to go, but yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. I would love to be able to push it through here to the trap, but each stage of the push needs to be one farther away. Doesn't quite work. The one enemy, if I could have gotten in range to attack, is this one. I could have pushed 1 away. Alas. Now I will go ahead and attack the one on the bottom. Again, a 4 attack, hopefully better. Yeah, 6 damage. I'll push that one as well, and on top of all that, I will generate fire. So that's up. End of the turn, I will also gain another element. Tick this down. I will choose frost. So we've got fire and frost available. Now going into round 5, I do need to move the boulders. So this guy will hit me here, which will bounce me back 1 since it can't go over me. And actually, when I get pushed out of the way, it's relocated to the closest empty hex, which could be anything I want. So I'm actually going to go here, because I can go very fast next round, fire off an attack, and hopefully take that guy out. All right, so as we continue to dodge the boulders and artillery attacks, I will have the Elementalist go very quick on 15, hopefully take out that cannon, and then get to safety. I'm going to be able to take out this one from a distance thanks to its plague, and then spread some more plague, and the Sunkeeper just healing and letting somebody get a card back, potentially the Elementalist. I'll have to see how things work out. All right, here we go. 15, 31, and 32 for us, and 46 for the artillery. So that'll lock us in place. See if we can get away from that. First up, the Elementalist, who I may have to repaint this base because he really does blend in with the rocks. But Pinky is going to go ahead and fire off ice spikes at this guy over here with the poison. This will be a 4 attack. And the result of that will be 4 damage. That is enough to take it out. And I can also convert an element with that and gain an XP. So I will convert the fire to wind. Then with my movement, Pinky did not like getting crushed by that boulder, so Pinky is going to get out of the way, moving 1, 2, 3, and then I can spend the frost to go ahead and give Retaliate 2 to the Plague Herald, which more importantly is just going to let me refresh the frost. Next up is the Plague Herald, who's just going to use some of his tried and true old tricks, using Path of the Pox to do 3 damage to this guy, which will in turn do 1 damage to him. And then with... he's safely positioned, but with a couple points of movement, I'm actually going to have him go back here. It's not even necessary. You know what? I could go get the coin. Plague Herald has no use for it, so I'm just going to leave it. And instead, I'm going to use 2 movement to go here, because why not? Plague Herald has flying, so I can get him a little bit closer to the action. There is, of course, a reason I did not get the loot. I'm going to let Katie do that. That is going to do it for Plague Herald's turn. Does gain an XP. Next up is Katie, who continues to be in a full-on support role, is going to use the Heavy Greaves plus the generic 2 movement to get a move 3. That will allow Katie to hop on the loot, and then she can go ahead and use Soothing Light on Pinky, who is down to 1 card, will be able to get a card back and do something in next turn. And also, I remembered I did not produce an element, so I'm going to look. It's either going to be earth or fire. We'll say for now it's going to be fire. I reserve the right to change that. Of course, I am using up the light, and that is going to do it for Katie's turn. For the card I'm getting back, I'm honestly not sure what the best thing here to do is. I think to continue to slow play, I'm not going to be able to move much, so I'll get Malleable Evocation, get yet some more healing, or more blesses, more strength in, which potentially I'll be able to use, and that will do it. Last up are the artillery, which means first things first, this guy is going to take a damage from his wound, and then I will be able to spread the plague as I can trigger the sores to these two enemies, which will be very nice because now I can have the Plague Herald start working on killing them from a distance. Finally, Plague Herald will take a short rest, would have lost Path of the Pox, which I am not okay with, so I took a damage and ended up losing Rot Maggots instead. Kicking off round 6 are the boulders. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And that will be it for them, and now I can choose my cards. And honestly, not a lot of choosing. Only 2 cards left for both the Sunkeeper and the Elementalist. Pinky and Katie are... I can't even control what order they go in. It's going to have to be Pinky first. That's fine. The Brain is going to go on 91, so that I can go ahead and... Yes, these artillery are not the only ones who can bomb away at range 5. Drawing for round 6, and... Oh, I guess the artillery can go very fast. Shielding, well, that's annoying. Did not realize that was something that could happen, and yet it did. So now I've got a generic 2 movement, which there's really not any point in using. I'm just going to hang out where I am. And then I'll go ahead once again with Malleable Evocation. I am going to be able to not do all 4, unfortunately, but the 3 better ones for right now, which are Wind, Fire, and Frost. And even though the Plague Herald has no interest in being warded, I will, or healed for that matter, I will cast a heal there more than anything else, just to give advantage, so I can potentially get some of the good attack modifiers in my deck, things like adding additional poison, plague, and whatnot. On 17, the artillery will shield up. Now for Katie, I would have her go ahead and bless herself, but believe it or not, all of the blesses are currently in attack modifier decks. So instead, we will move into position with just a generic move 2, and that will, well, then she'll, obviously, that will not be the end of her turn. She'll go ahead and heal herself. Also, she's going to generate light, and I do have to keep reminding myself that at the end of Pinky's turn, they would have generated an element as well. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to rest. I'm feeling fire in the moment. So that is going to do it. Well, plus the 3 heal. She will heal herself, and that is going to do it for her turn. So now the Brain will go and wants to make sure he can get in range, and so he will fly 1, 2, 3, hovering above the trap, but not actually taking damage from it. That'll put him in a nice central spot where he can attack whatever targets he wants. And the targets he wants are obviously the one that's not plagued. Let's go ahead and get plagued there. And then I think I do... Yeah, even with the shields, I have a shot to take out the poisoned one, so that's what I'll do. In fact, we'll attack that one first. Here comes a 2 attack with advantage against 2 shields. Is either going to be a 0 or a ×2. That is a 4. That's 2 damage. It will take another plague counter, and then the Wilt and Wither will do 2 more damage to it. So another one removed from the board. The 1-man or 1,000 bug wrecking crew continues. Then the other attack will be against this one up here. Just a 1 attack, which is also going to be an advantage. Either a ×2 or a stun. That is a great result. So yeah, and a +1. So 2 damage, it's stunned and plagued. Then it'll take 1 more damage from the plague counter. But let me tell you, I was reading in one of the Discords, people were wondering that the Elementalist didn't seem like they could generate a lot of XP. Evidence to the contrary. Through the first rest cycle, I've generated 10. That is unfortunately going to do it for the Pulsing Cores. However, if I really wanted, I can get it back using Katie's ability, so we'll see. The only other question I have to answer for the round is what I'm going to do with Katie. Am I going to take a short rest and kind of keep things moving along, even though I'm pretty much relying on the Plague Herald to deal with these enemies? Or do I take a long rest? I'll fail my battle goal, but I'll get some healing, which is always helpful, and all of my equipment back, which could be really handy if I do have to help out with these artillery or going into the next room, which I'm sure is not going to be any piece of cake. So I'm leaning more towards that and just letting myself fail the battle goal. But I will decide tomorrow. So I've had a lot of time to think about how I'm going to go about this, and I have to say, with the boulders moving and having to get through them and trying not to get clobbered by them, it is one giant puzzle, which I guess is appropriate given that this is a puzzle book scenario. But what I've ultimately realized is, while slow and steady is nice, I think I'm in a position now where I cannot afford to slow down here. Taking a long rest will throw off the whole cycle of me being able to slide in between these boulders, at least as the way I've kind of got things mapped out. So I'm actually going to have both the Sunkeeper and the Elementalist take a short rest. For Katie, I drew Engulfing Radiance, and since I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get my armor back, and I guess I will go for my battle goal, I don't want to give up my big heal, so I took a point of damage. I ended up losing the Brilliant Prayer instead. And for Pinky, the first card I drew was the Malleable Evocation, and I've had so much fun with that. I don't know that I'll actually need it to get my mastery, but I do want to hold on to it. I also like the bottom ability, potentially for this turn. So I took a point of damage there, and you can see the other card I lost instead. So now we can move on to round 7. And of course, the first thing that happens is the boulders will move. So these guys will come down to the bottom of the map. And then this guy, 1, 2, 3, will land over here. Also, we should probably put the Plague Herald back where he belongs. Okay, so time to choose my cards. So I think ideally, if I had planned this all out far enough in advance, I would have used my Element Potion, but I did not. So just going to have the Sun and the Fire for this turn, but that will be enough to let me get a range 5 attack with Formless Power, as I'll be having the Elementalist move up. He can target the stunned one. I will also be having Katie move up 3, and she can throw another heal on herself. And the Plague Herald, making sure I go ahead. I didn't even check the discard pile to see if it can get back its shield thing, but I'll have him go on 14, and he'll be able to attack both enemies. And one other note, when I attacked the Ancient Artillery before, it did have shields, so it wouldn't have taken any damage from the attack, just the 1 damage afterwards from the plague counter. So now let us go ahead and draw. Well, that is a pretty big attack, but it's only 1 attack. Again, Plague Herald doesn't mind occasionally getting hit, so should be fine. Of course, one of them is stunned too, so it is only the 1 attack. With the Brain's movement, he's only got 2, but I will have him fly over and hover on top of this pit. Good enough to make him the target of that attack, and then he can go ahead and attack both of them at any range. They both have 1 plague counter, so it's going to be a 3 attack. Also, Plague Herald no longer strengthened. That was just last turn. So I will go ahead. I will target the one on top first with a 3 attack, and just going to be 3 damage, but I'm going to be able to give it another plague counter, which is very nice. Next attack against the one on the bottom is same effect. Cool. Next up is the well-camouflaged Elementalist, as Pinky will go 1, 2, 3, putting them just in range of that artillery. I'll then use Formless Power, consuming both the Fire and the Sun, to do a ranged 5 4 attack, and this one will be at advantage since Pinky was able to strengthen themselves last turn. So it is either going to be a +1 or +1. Where are my cards that give elements? I would love to get some of those. I'll just have to settle for 5 damage. That will be yet another XP for the Elementalist, and then Katie will just move up 1, 2, 3, and can heal herself, or Pinky, of course, she'll heal herself. That'll also generate light, and that will do it for her turn. And now the artillery. So the bottom artillery is stunned. The top one has its sights set on the brain. This would normally be a 4 attack, but it will just be a 2 attack thanks to the blistering buboes and the extra plague counter I got out. And the brain is warded, so this attack will be, well, just 2 damage, and the ward will knock it down to 1. That's going to do it for round 7. At the top of the order, of course, the boulders will move. This one will rumble down this way. This one going 1, 2, 3, and this one on this side. And I've left myself just enough room to sneak the non-flying characters, also who don't have any jump. I guess there is the capability that the elementalist could give jump if I had wind, which I don't. So fortunately, just 4 movement can get them through the difficult terrain. And speaking of which, let me choose their cards. For this round, plan is to just keep moving up, kind of skirting around the boulders and getting myself in position, start getting ready to go into the next room. Of course, I still do need to do quite a bit of damage to eliminate these, so I'm going to have the Plague Herald get some poison out, also some curses. And Katie not going to be able in position to attack, but she can set herself up for next turn, also generate another element. Yeah, although I realize that's actually... Question is if I want to give advantage... Yeah, I think I'm actually better off having Katie go on 63 to have the element available for next turn. So, not great initiative, 21, 48, and 63, but let's see for the artillery. They're shielding up anyway, and also doing a 2 attack. Not great. In this case, both artillery are going to target the brain with their attacks. Yeah, it's range 5 between either of these, and he's got the lower initiative. So first attack is going to be a miss, and second attack is going to be a +1, and it'll heal itself. So it'll heal back up to 6. Actually, no. It'll be this one that'll heal, because this is the lower numbered one. Didn't think the attack order would matter, but it did. And 3 damage to the Plague Herald. Plague Herald will return the favor, although with the shields up, these 1 attacks not likely to do much damage. We'll go after the top one first. Yeah, a 2 is still 0 damage. The bottom one is also 2, and of course I have to poison somebody within 3. I will poison Katie, who will prevent that with the safeguard. So both of them are poisoned and cursed. First up is Pinky, who will use the move 4, 1, 2 into the difficult terrain, 3, 4. Got a while before that boulder's coming back around, so it's a nice central spot and safe. And now I can target either of the enemies. I'll go for the one that's closer to death. There's definitely some blesses in there, so perhaps we'll get lucky. Poison's going to make this a 4 attack, and just because I can, I will go ahead and consume the light to generate wind. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the attack. Yeah, no advantage or anything, just straight up. So, and there are 2 shields. It is going to be, well, didn't even need a bless. It's a ×2. That's 8 damage against the 2 shields is 6. That is going to take that one out. And last but not least, we've got Katie, who's also given herself a move 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Should be able to hop on top of that coin, collect some loot, and then she can strengthen and bless somebody. And since I'm primed, actually, no, I was going to say I was going to do 2 attacks with the Plague Herald next turn. Yeah, I actually have to think about who I want to give that to. And yeah, actually, Katie's going to be able to, with a little help from her friends, get in position to do a melee attack against that thing next turn. So she will give herself strengthen and bless. Katie will also generate Sun for that, and that is going to do it for the round. Start of round 9, both of these elements will wane, and we will move the boulders. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, non-threatening for now. And alright, will I be able to finish it out this turn? Maybe. I have a lot of ×2s in Katie's deck. So for round 9, goal is pretty simple. Just try and take this guy out. Might take an extra turn, but start working on that, and then also get everyone closer to the door without getting hit by boulders. So, but then I will start to position myself to move in to the next room. I've got the Elementalist giving the Sunkeeper some jump and some automatic damage from the Plague Herald, and potentially I might be able to generate 4 elements this turn without having to use my element potion. Still have to keep an eye on the mastery goal. Also occurs to me Pinky's battle goal I haven't really addressed yet. I have to be standing next to an enemy and kill another enemy, so maybe that is something. Well, I'm definitely going to have to pay attention to it in the next room. Oh, and by the way, the Plague Herald, failed his battle goal, I think, in round 2. So when Wilt and Wither killed one of the elites. Oh well. Now, checking in at Xhaven for the artillery. Just doing a push. That is interesting. So I probably will get pushed on 37 if I don't manage to kill this thing. But, alright, well, I'll take that into account. Try not to have people clustered up together. And so actually, going with Pinky first, this is not going to work out necessarily as well as I'd hoped, because I cannot get next to it. I'm 1 movement short. I can go 1, 2, 3, and then that will generate fire, which is all well and good, but I was hoping to use the wind, if for no other reason, to generate more wind, but I'm pretty sure in this case you can't consume the element if you can't actually use the ability, which I cannot. So that being the case, wind is probably going to go away, but I will be able to grant Katie 2 move with jump, so that I can go ahead and have her move 2 right over there, at least put her in position, and I think there's actually a pretty good chance I'll be able to take the enemy out, so I don't have to worry about the attack. And I'm actually realizing I do not want to end my turn here, because that's where the boulder is going to appear, so we'll stay 1 step back, and then I can maneuver around it next turn. Now Katie's up, and for just the second time this game, she's going to go ahead and attack. There are no blesses available, so they're all in the decks once again. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do the bottom attack first. It would be a disadvantage as a ranged attack, but with the strengthen, that'll just be a straight up draw, and maybe I'll get a bless. So this is going to be a 2 attack, a +1 with the poison, makes it a 3 attack. And that is going to be, so it is going to be 4 damage, and I get to heal somebody 1. And realizing I'm going to take quite a bit of damage if I don't manage to kill this thing, because it's either going to push me into the trap or it's going to push me into the path of the boulder. So either way, I will go ahead and have Katie heal herself back up to full. And now we will do the other attack. This one will be an advantage. This will be a 5 attack with the poison. And it is going to be either 5 and generate sun, or a 6. Well, that guy's at 8 and he's taking 3 more damage, so I will take the 5 damage and generate some light. No effect from the bless. That'll be the end of her turn. Finally, the brain will go ahead and finish him off, or finish off the artillery with Path of the Pox, just dealing 3 damage. He's already down to 3, so that'll take him out. That will drop loot, and then with my 5 movement and flying, we'll just hop up over here to claim that coin and get ready to move into the next room. Oh, and I did get to generate an element from Katie's attack. I will generate Frost as I weigh my options for the next round. One quick change for the Plague Herald, I think actually more important than loot, since I'm where I need to be, is positioning. I want to be able to fire off stuff into the room, so I'm going to fly over here instead on top of this difficult terrain. I've already moved the boulders for the beginning of the round. We know that these 2, when they move, are going to end up here, so that should be fine. At this point, I can go ahead and get ready for next round, or this round, and get ready to charge into that room. Oh, and Plague Herald did need a short rest. I lost Festering Source. You know, I thought about slow playing this round, but Gloomaniacs gonna Gloomaniacs. I'm going into the room. I will, on 10, have the Elementalist send Katie in, and then Katie won't go much longer after that. On 15, then she'll have some options depending on what I find in the room. She could potentially just move in a little further and attack somebody, or if really necessary, she could back out a little bit. We'll see what enemies are in there, what the room looks like, what they're going to be doing. I've never done this scenario before, so I have no idea. For the Plague Herald, I've got him going on 43, a little bit later, so hopefully he can get some Plague out. Alternatively, I could flip it around. I could poison and curse a couple enemies. I could actually poison all of the enemies. That might be fun. Let's see what we're facing. Pinky will kick things off with Gravel Guard, using the top ability there for the first time. And that is going to give Katie 2 movement, a shield, and muddling everybody adjacent. If there happens to be anybody, it will also generate Earth. So I'm just going to throw that up now. And then we will go 1, 2, and see what we find. All right, well, here is the situation. We have charged in, and there are a whole bunch of Inox in here. And the item is somewhere here. We're not sure. It's just all piles of junk and treasure, and we're going to have to dig through it to find them. So again, the scenario goal is I have to loot all 3 chests. I also have to kill all the enemies. So we have a couple of guards, a couple of archers, and a priest. And the special rules for this room is they will not leave the room, and if I don't have anybody in the room, they gain +3 range to all of their abilities. That's not going to be a problem because Katie is going to charge in. And, well, hopefully, maybe we will replenish some of the curses in the deck. But before we even get there, let's take a look and see what the enemies are doing. All right, Priest is actually on 9, so it's going to get to go before Katie has a chance to go, which is, I think, unfortunate because it's probably going to get an extra target in. It is going to move, looking to attack 2 targets at range 3, and also cursing. And then right after Katie goes, the guards are not doing anything other than upping their retaliate. That's okay. I wasn't going to attack the guards this turn anyway, at least not melee. And the archers are doing a power shot. So Katie is going to have to take both of those as well. Well, this is going to be interesting. So that takes care of the top ability. Now, for the bottom ability, I do get to move 3. So that being the case, I'm going to go ahead and just have them... Pinky will move over here, where Pinky can collect some loot. And... I don't know, we'll worry about positioning next turn. That is going to... Oh, I do get to move an element to strong, so I think in this case it will be... We'll move the fire back up, and that will be Pinky's turn. So now the Inox Priest is up. An interesting situation here, as it wants to find a couple of targets, and it can do that by moving. The question is, will it? So it does gain +3 range when there are no characters or character summons on this tile, is the exact wording. I know doors are not considered to be in either room, but the language here, Katie is definitely standing on the tile. So I think in this case, it does not get the bonus to range, meaning to get within range 3 of its second focus, which would be the Plague Herald, thanks to the flea-bitten shawl. It is then going to go ahead and move 2, which is, ideally it would find a spot where it could get attack both without disadvantage. It can't, so it will accept that at least one of those attacks is going to be at disadvantage, the one against Katie. Only a 2 attack. This could be a waste of a perfectly good ward, especially with those other big attacks coming in, but... Well, let's see what happens. First, the attack against Katie at disadvantage. Katie does have a shield, so also, Katie has retaliate. It hasn't come up in a while, but I played that right on the first turn, and it fired off 3 times. I forgot, I didn't tick it down on camera the 4th time, but there was a point where a hound attacked it, and then the hound got crushed by a boulder. But it should have ticked down. So it's got one more use, and that will apply here. It's not specifically to melee attacks, it's just attacks when they're within 1. So, all that being the case, it will go ahead and attack Katie at disadvantage. A 2 attack is either going to be a +1 or a +1. So that is too bad, even with the shield. So that becomes a 3 attack. Shield knocks it down to 2, and then the ward will fire off, reducing it to 1. Priest will also curse Katie and then take 3 retaliate damage from Purifying Aura. That's the final tick, goes down to 0, but as a result, Katie will gain another XP. Now the attack on the brain. This one, just a straight up attack. A 2 attack is, well, there's the curse. Wish that had come earlier, but speaking of curse, there will be a curse put into the brain stack. Now Katie is up, and she is eager to keep attacking things. She will go ahead and do a hammer blow to the priest, consuming the sun to give her advantage and +1. So this will be a 4 attack, and it will also muddle the priest. All right, here comes the attack. Again, this will be with advantage, so either a -1, we could do better than that, or a ×2. Yeah, that's a lot better. That's going to be 8 damage. Katie will then go ahead and generate light using the other card, using Engulfing Radiance, and all attacks coming in, specifically the 2 attacks from the archers, will be at disadvantage. Next up are the guards. They're just doing parry and thrust, so they hang out where they are, throw up some shields, increase their retaliate, and they're done. Brain's up now, and man, you know, part of me really wants to use the bottom of Biting Gnats and just go ahead and whack everything with poison, but not to mention a couple curses, but I think given the guards are going to be a real pain in the butt, they're both at 20 health, the retaliate, I just want to bring them down as quickly as possible. The best way to do that is just going to be to start loading them up with Plague. So I'm going to play Nightmarish Affliction, and then I'll do Biting Gnats. I'll be able to attack both guards and the priest. And yeah, I can get that 3rd attack by targeting the Elementalist, who is 3 away, giving poison, which will just get rid of Pinky's Safeguard. Do the attacks against the guards first. So the top guard, a 1 attack, a -1, 0 against the shield, no damage. And then against the other one, it's a ×2. What a waste. That's 1 damage to the other guard, bring it down to 19. And then against the priest is going to be just 1 damage, bringing it down to 4. Then the other part of Biting Gnats will kick in, muddling both of the guards, which is good. They've already gone this round, so they'll be muddled next turn. And the one other thing that I meant to do during Pinky's turn is I do want to set up for another heal on Katie next turn, and more importantly, get Ward into play. Since I'm missing Frost, I will go ahead and use my Element Potion to put a couple more elements in play, so well set up for next turn. Finally, to finish out the round, I will need to have both Katie and Pinky take short rests. Katie will lose Guiding Light. Pinky will lose Formless Power. Both cases are okay. I think I'm still left myself in a position to get that mastery. And actually, the one other thing that's going to happen in round 10, almost forgot about the archers, who are doing a power shot. Both attacks are going to be against Katie, who still does have 1 shield, and the attacks will be at disadvantage. So, here comes a 4 attack, which is either a +3 or a +1. That will be 5 damage, reduced to 4 from the shield. Next attack is going to be either a +1 or a +1 in heal. Brutal. Another 5 damage. I think in this case, I might just lose a card. Yeah, I don't know that I'll be playing Sanctify again, so I'll let that go. Now for round 11, I've moved the boulders, and now, which quite annoyingly has blocked in Pinky, but That's okay. Pinky's going to be healing this round, also potentially firing off a big attack against the boss, or the priest, not the boss. But even before that, I've got Katie going on 17, able to move and fire off an attack with advantage. And then the brain, I've set things up so the brain can actually attack everybody in the room with advantage. Now let's check the enemies. We're not going as fast as we could, and Elementalist could be going on 10, but I think I'll be okay. Let's find out. Well, maybe the Element... it wouldn't have mattered if the Elementalist went on 10, because the Priest is going first. Draining Strength, that is annoying. Going to be disarming Katie, taking away her attack, unfortunately, before the heal comes in, which would give her ward or safeguard. Let's see. The Inox guards, well, that's good news at least. They're not moving. Then Katie, Elementalist, Brain. Oh, I have to name the Elementalist. I'll take care of that later. Finally, once again, Inox archers doing a power shot. So we'll kick things off with the priest who, yeah, unfortunately, this... Oh, no, it's muddled. So I was going to say it's going to move to get rid of disadvantage. It is not going to move. Doesn't need to, since it's got disadvantage anyway. This will be a 2 attack against Katie, who unfortunately does not have shields anymore. Either +1 and a curse or 0. Yeah, we'll take the 0. So that is 2 damage, and Katie is disarmed. Guards are up next, just attacking nobody adjacent and throwing up a shield. Now, Katie's up. I'm just going to have her move up a little bit since the guards have already attacked. Don't have to worry about that. I do need to keep her within range so that she can get healed. And then she can attack, but at least attacks against her will have disadvantage. Pinky's up next, and for the 4th time this game, we'll consume 4 elements, not the sun, but everything else, to go ahead and cast Powered Up Malleable Evocation, targeting Katie and the Brain. And you know what? Change my mind. I'm actually going to have Pinky target themselves first, so they'll be able to have advantage on the next attack, which is coming now, firing off Ice Spikes. That'll generate Frost and Earth, give another 2 XP, plus 1 XP from the Unstable Evocation, and here we go, 5 attack with advantage. Will either be a -1, that's no good, or a +1, that is good, have taken out the Priest. So I did not do this optimally. It had been my intention to plague up both of the archers. I actually can't. They're too far apart. I would have been able to do it if I had given this the +1 range that I kept meaning to with enhancement. Alas. So I'm going to flip it around. I'm just going to do 3 damage to the guard that's already down to 19, bring him down to 16 with Path of the Pox. And then with 4 movement, I'm going to go up here. That way, Katie does not have to take both of the arrow attacks. First attack incoming against Katie, that will be at disadvantage, so it's either going to be a ×2 or a wound. Well, it was wounding anyway, so that will be 4 damage. The ward will cut it in half to 2, and the safeguard will prevent the wound. Then the attack against the Brain, straight up, -1, so 3 damage and a wound. That'll do it for the round. Boulders will move at the start of the next round. They are no longer going to be an issue. It'll take a couple turns before I actually move Pinky into the room, but that's fine. The boulders won't have arrived by then. Might be an issue if I decide to come back out and grab loot. We'll see. But now I can prep for round 12. Now we are really going to see some Pinky power, as you can see as we warm up to what the Elementalist can do. I'm going to be burning both these cards. This was kind of my plan all along for the 5th time, trying to complete that mastery. I'll be playing both Lost cards, top and bottom. That'll give me all 4 elements, and then next turn I can do the souped up attack. For the Brain, we'll be spreading some more Plague with Wilt and Wither. Now at least I am within range of all the enemies. I can get both archers. And Katie, I am planning on firing off a big heal, because I think she's going to need it. And also, she's able to, another lot of lost cards going this round, she's also going to be able to fire off an attack at one of the archers. Checking in on the enemies, yeah, we're going super fast. So, calculated strike for the archer, calculated strike for the guards. All right, well, while you're sitting there thinking, I am going to start attacking you. Piggy says, what are we going to do today? And the brain says, same thing we do every day, Pinky. Try to kill all the Inox. Is that what they do every day? I don't know. But that's what they're doing today, as Pinky is going to go ahead and fire off a frigid torrent at this Inox guard here, who is just within range at range 4. And Pinky is still strengthened, since that was played on their last turn, so this attack will be at advantage. 5 attack against the guard is either going to be a ×2 or a -1. Still have not drawn any element generation. Not that I need it, but yeah, that's going to be 10 damage. We'll throw a disarm on that guy for good measure. And now for the magma scales, I actually cannot give it to the Plague Herald because Grant does require line of sight. So instead, this will go to Katie. That'll generate fire and earth, so all 4 elements are once again strong. The elementalist is up to 19 XP so far this game, and more to come. And Katie now has Shield 2 and Retaliate 2 for the rest of the round. Then going to have the Plague Herald back up a bit, just so that I'll go right there. He is still 1, 2, 3, yep, still within range 5 of both archers. He will give poison to the elementalist and go ahead and attack 3 enemies here, triggering Nightmarish Affliction. Yeah, I guess I'm not going to bother with the guy who's disarmed, although we do want to take him down. So yeah, I do want to minimize the amount of damage since I'm playing Blistering Buboes, which will reduce attack. I might as well go ahead and target the one that is going to be attacking this round. So here we go. 3 attacks incoming. We'll start with the archers. The guy up here, again, just going to be a 1 attack and a stun. That is fantastic. 2 damage. I'm going to bring him down to 6. And he is plagued and stunned. Now the attack on the other archer is going to be just 1 damage. And finally, against the guard will be also 1 damage. All the enemies will then take damage for their plague counters. So 1, 1, 2, and 1. And that will do it for the brain. Next up, Katie will go ahead and heal everybody for 5. Plague Herald's not sure how he feels about that, but it'll all work out. And so that's the heal. Let me mark that off. Plague Herald was also wounded, forgot to take a damage for there, so I took care of that. Unfortunately, my first opportunity to overheal somebody and give them a ward, but the Elementalist already has a ward. So now I'll go ahead and with Holy Strike do a big attack against, well, yeah, not the one that's stunned. Maybe we can kill the other archer. This will be a 5 attack at advantage. It'll either be a +1, good enough, or a 0. Yeah, that's 6 damage to the archer. Sayonara. Katie's now up to 11 XP after that very successful turn. Also generating light. Listen, we don't have Rito around anymore to pad our XP. We're going to have to do it on our own. Next up, the archers would do their calculated strike, but one of them is dead. The other is stunned. Now for the guard, can get closer to Katie with just 1 move, so that will be the target. And incoming 5 attack. Can I have to take that? It is going to be -1, so just 4 damage. Oh, and Katie has 2 shields, so 2 damage and retaliate 2. Round 13, as usual, we kick things off with the boulders. So don't really have to worry about the boulders anymore, but they might come in handy for a certain personal quest. We'll see. Also, we have to deal with battle goals, so I'm hoping to do that this round. Let's take a look at the plan. All right, so I've got the Elementalist going first and going to get into position to fire off Shaping the Ether so I can use up 4 elements, and then I will achieve my mastery. Then I've got Katie going. She'll be able to attack and also grant another attack, potentially to said Elementalist. And then I'll have the Brain also do some damage. There is so much damage I could potentially have the Brain do, but we'll see what next turn looks like. Going over, you can see I've got Pinky going a little bit slower. That way I'm hoping I can pull off the battle goal by softening up some other enemies first. Man, I really wish I could change the name. It's right there, Pinky and the Brain. Unfortunate. Okay, so nevertheless, let's see when the enemies are going. Well, they're going fast. Guards are not doing anything, just being annoying. The archer, or well, just the one archer, is firing off a pretty small attack, so not too worried about that. So first up are the guards, who are just standing still. Then the archer, who doesn't need to move to attack Katie at range 4, so here we go, just a 2 attack, plus 3, so that's 5 damage. That'll knock Katie down to 5 and wound her. Now Katie can go. She is going to definitely don't want to be taking retaliate damage right now, so I'm going to flip things around. I am going to strengthen and bless. As you can see, I've already marked it off. I'm going to strengthen and bless Pinky, and then I'm going to grant everybody 4 movement, and also marked off the 2 XP I'm going to get for that. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, go up here, 1, 2, 3 over here, and just in case the archer lives and attacks again, let's put the Brain close by. So that'll be it for that, and now we can move on to the Brain. Also, I realized I moved this one a little too far. Should be there. So that I can target him without taking disadvantage. But Brain first is going to target the 2 low health enemies just to get them down, hopefully set them up for the kill. So it's going to be a 3 attack against each of them with the bonus from the plague counter. First we'll do the attack against the archer, is going to be a rolling modifier, so there'll be some poison. And that will be times 2. I've killed the archer. I got a little too excited there for the Brain. And unfortunately, no enemies within 2 to gain poison, so that's wasted. All right, please don't do that again. Try again. Do an attack on the guard. Here we go. It's going to be a 3 attack. It's another rolling modifier. The heal is definitely going to Katie. And okay. Just 3 damage, bringing it down to 2. And with the Brain's 5 movement, there's a good reason I'm doing this. I'm actually going to have him zip around here and loot this chest. That way, potentially, where this guard ends up, he could get attacked by that guard. We'd be very happy if that happened. So that will do it for his turn. He'll gain 1 more XP. And finishing out the round is Pinky the Elementalist, who is going to use 4 available elements, not the sun, everything else, to Shaping the Aether. This is now the 5th time I've used 4 elements. Hallelujah, I have achieved mastery. And I'm going to be able to do a 2 attack, so what I'm going to do here is I can do 2 targets. I am going to target the crazy retaliate guy, but I will be able to push him, so I don't have to take retaliate damage, and I'm actually going to target this one first, and if everything works out the way I want, you'll see why. All right, attacking with advantage, so it is either going to be a -1, which would have been bad, or 0, thank goodness. All right, so I get to generate an element. I'm not sure which yet, either frost or wind. But more importantly, I did kill this enemy, which has achieved my battle goal of killing 1 enemy while standing next to a different one. Now, for the second attack, I'll go ahead and attack this guy. also with advantage, which is going to be, okay, more element generation or ×2. Now, I'll take the ×2. So that is going to be 4 damage, bringing him down to 11. Then I can push him up to 3. I'll just push him on 1. That way he's in position where he could attack the brain. And that's good enough, and hopefully he'll die in that spot, and there's multiple loot tokens there. That being said, yeah, that's also going to wound, immobilize, and poison him. With 3 movement, I'll just hop over and loot this chest. So 2 of 3 done. We just have to get the last one, and I can do that at my leisure since, yeah, the scenario doesn't end till I loot it and kill the enemy, which we have to take care of that as well. No, and for the element, frost is more useful potentially, so that's the one I'll grab. All right, just a little end of round housekeeping. I went ahead and did the heal from the Plague Herald's turn on Katie. That got rid of her wound. And I do need to do short rests for, well, for everybody. There are the cards everybody ended up losing. That's fine. We're going to polish this off pretty quickly. I've moved the boulders, and now we're getting down to it. Here is hoping that the guard attacks the Plague Herald. I've got the Plague Herald going first, ready to put out an absolutely obscene amount of damage this turn. For the first time, I might use the bottom of Wilt and Wither. Can you imagine if there were 4 enemies with Plague? I'd be able to do 8, 6, 4, and 2 damage to them. But just the one. Other stuff going on. I've got the Elementalist just getting more XP and giving Retaliate, which will be double effective. Sunkeeper is just probably going to be looking out for loot. We'll see how things go, depending. Going to have her go on 32. Let's find out when the enemies are going. All right, let's see when the guard is going on 55 and attacking. Hallelujah. So just need to make sure he doesn't miss. Too bad he's strengthening himself this turn. All right, well, let us see what happens. Brain is up first, and he will kick things off with the bottom of Wilt and Wither, and then he will use Blistering Buboes to do 4 damage to this guy, which is going to be doubled to 8 damage. He'll gain 3 XP, 2 for the Blistering Buboes, and another 1 when the Wilt and Wither ticks down. So now it's Pinky's turn, and I mean, I could do some fun, funky stuff with Retaliate, but I don't want to screw this up just in case. So I am instead going to just move over here, collect the loot, and I mean, Pinky can heal himself for 2, use the frost, doesn't really matter. Next up, I'm just going to have Katie go ahead and loot here, take care of all that. So at this point, all we have to do is kill the enemy. That's going to happen soon enough because it is now the enemy's turn. Get psyched, Inox Guard, because the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to take double damage from the wound, going from 3 down to 1. But we'll now go ahead and attack the brain. And that attack, please don't be a miss, is going to be all right, +1 and a curse. I'll take it. That's going to be 5 damage, which happily will knock the Plague Herald down to 3. Guard will also strengthen himself. Not that it really matters, because he is going to die if he's still alive. If somebody else hasn't killed him, he will die at the start of his next turn. Short rests for Katie and Pinky, who are both down to 3 cards, now down to 2 cards, and so they'll lose these. Round 15, time to put things to an end. The key here is that the Plague Herald is going first on 21. The other 2 will go on their slower initiatives. For the last time, Inox Guard, going on 50, will not be around to do that. Just for kicks, the Plague Herald will poison and muddle all enemies, and then we'll deal 3 damage to it, so it's dead, and 3 more XP. And it's still doubled, that lasts for 2 rounds, so it's actually 6 damage and 1 more XP from the final tick down of Wilt and Wither. Next up is Pinky, who will settle for not having all of the gold. We'll even it up a bit. We'll just go 1, 2, 3 and collect this one. granting 2 movement, wants the brain to be closer. So Pinky and the brain can end together because this may well be their last adventure together. That's going to do it for Pinky's turn. And finally, Katie will grab a couple more XP as she will burn Dazzling Charge to go ahead and grab the other 2 loot. And look at that, everyone hanging out together. 2 more XP, and that will be a wrap. All right, when all's said and done, we dig through all the various treasure piles. Not a lot of treasure, mostly just junk, not even any gold. But we did find a very interesting looking item, which is probably the one we're looking for. It is the Ruby Talisman, which I can already see in the imagery. There is some stuff that we're going to need to move forward in the puzzle book. As far as the ability itself, I don't know. Never a big fan of giving myself disarm, although these characters do have a lot of abilities where they're not attacking, so it might not be that bad. I'll give it to somebody, not sure who yet. As usual, let's finish things off by taking a look at where the characters stand. We've got Katie, the Volrath Sunkeeper, who managed to pick up 25 XP, which seems so low compared to what I've been doing with Rita, but I mean, 15 from card play, not bad. She'll be looking at a level, not now, but next time around, should be a level up. And then also picked up 12 gold, so she's up to 24 gold. Pinky, the Savas Elementalist, generated a whopping 20 XP from cards, so 30 XP total, picked up 15 gold, up to 20, and also achieved a mastery, so got a perk there. It's going to take a couple more before we get the other one. Also, for personal goals, 1 of 10, encountering a road event, and also Katie is now 3 of 6 in side scenarios. And finally, we have the Brain, the Harrower Plague Herald, who picked up 23 XP, just enough to edge over to level 7, and 9 gold up to 48. We'll see if I did my calculations correctly, that the Brain has enough money to do everything I want to do. Although, in retrospect, I'm realizing I probably should have gotten a little bit more money to get that enhancement to increase the range of Path of the Pox. Alas, did not achieve his battle goal. Plebeian is a failure yet again. But he is 10 of 10 in personal goals, in service to the Blood God, so let's see what happens there. With the last drop spilled, a calmness washes over you. The most personal of libations mixes into the earth beneath your feet, the dirt hungrily drinking your offerings. You wait, past spilled blood disappearing into the ground. You wait, past the point where your wounds try to close themselves, as there is nothing left to give. You wait, past the looming fear that every action was pointless, past the tumult in your mind that the Blood God was a myth, past the terrifying nothingness that is the Blood God's response. And then you wait no more. You see his maw, a smile full of sharp, crooked teeth, dripping blood. Zorn? Zorn? Or the Blood God. You feel his gaze, a cold beam that forces your spine to shiver, lest it turn to ice, and then it passes, and you know he is pleased. You rise, having seen the infinite, and now it sees you. One other order of business. I am going to go ahead and do the Plague Herald's retirement now. I've peeked ahead at the city event. It's not really going to affect anything in terms of retirement. The one thing I will do before he retires is I'm going to go ahead and level up. So for his level 7 perk, I would just check off another remove a -1, replace it with a +1. And for his level up card, the level 7 choices are Tainted Offering and Mass Extinction. And in terms of a lot of the card choices, either you're going with the Poison My Ally strategy or you're going with the Plague My Enemy strategy. Of course, I have been enjoying more the latter, so I would go ahead and take Mass Extinction. And as effective as that top attack can be, what I really like about that card is just the Plague on the bottom. Really helps you get kickstarted, being able to have a first turn where you can potentially do that, do another plague card on the top, maybe Nightmare's Affliction on turn 2 that you can pair with Biting Gnats. You can really just start getting a lot of plague out. Of course, that's not going to happen anytime soon for me, as I am now going to be retiring the Plague Herald. But before we do that, he will sell off all his stuff so that he has a little bit of money to spend. Well, nothing original here. This is a pretty common choice, is to go ahead, spend 100 gold to put +1 attack on Biting Gnats. Normally plus 50 gold for the +1, doubled in cost because it does affect multiple targets. Even just using a stamina potion to get it back, you can play it twice early on. But also with other classes, like the Sunkeeper, who have abilities to let you get cards back. It's just has become one of the go-to cards that I've played with for the Plague Herald towards the end. So if I do play the Plague Herald again, it'll be nice to have this little boon. I did have 10 gold on top of that. My careful planning and calculation was correct, and with that 10 gold, donated to the Great Oak. And that is going to do it for yet another episode of the Adventures of the Gloomaniacs. Coming up next, another new class unlock. Not only have I never played the Lightning Bolt class before, but I have not even looked at it. In first edition, I didn't take a look at any spoilers, did not know the name of the class until I opened it, so that was kind of fun. And I think it is going to be really fun, especially with this crew. They're all going to be level 3 together, and really going to be able to wreck shop, I think. So next episode, I will look forward to adding a new character to the mix. I don't know if I'm going to get quite back into the main quest storyline yet, because I do think, but I'm not going to do a side scenario. I think where I'd like to go next is with the City Guard faction. But we'll see. That's for the future. For now, as always, until next time, and thanks for watching.